Good morning. The party portfolio was incorporated in 1984. I am a sole proprietor, and I have been doing this all by myself for a million years. I've had the privilege of doing fabulous events for 2 people to 1,000. I also would like to tell you how endowed this area is now with venues. So I have been so lucky to do events for social and corporate clients, from museums, venues, private homes. I would say now our industry is probably 3rd or 4th in the entire country. And when I started my business, I need to tell you, we were not anywhere near there. Before I tell you a little bit about myself and my business and all the questions that were asked, I was innately born with the love of art appreciation, and color. And throughout my whole life, which I'm not going to go through, it has driven me to where I got to becoming an event coordinator. And every time I go back and I think my early education, I was always drawing, I was always making covers. I think that's the way I got through a lot of my schooling. I went to college, I studied, and I became a teacher. I was always going to museums. So how did my business begin? I moved to Northern Virginia and I moved to McLean. And if there was a window in this room and you could look outside, I don't think you would have seen anything. We were discussing this, a lot of the panelists were Carlton appeared in 1989. The most important thing that applied or that showed up here in the early 80s was Clyde's. That was the first venue that I could work on in Northern Virginia. So backtrack to how did I get started? Well, my husband is an oral surgeon. He is positioned for many years now in Vienna. We knew no one when we moved here from New York. You can obviously pick up my accent, even though I'm here quite a few years. And I said, how are we going to meet people? How is he going to get a referral base? And the word parties, events started to pop into my mind. So what did we do? We did events like we would send out an invitation with a piece that you had to put in your pocket, or something you had to do, or tell you that something was going to happen there to get you excited to come. And I might say that these events became very popular. We would have over 200 people. We would cook ourselves and do the whole thing. I would have music, maybe a fortune teller, and people were saying, where did she come from? I mean, where did this all happen? So we continued on, and our parties became very well known in the area. My husband's business grew, and we made a lot of friends. And then I, who had 3 children, wanted to get active in the community. And it seemed wherever I went, I suddenly was in charge of the gala, the ball, the fundraiser, and it just kept coming to me. And I might tell you that back when Inova Hospital was Fairfax Hospital, I chaired their gala for 4 years. They were raising at that time $300,000, and we thought we were incredible. Those doctors were going crazy. That's how far back we go. I did Parkinson's. I worked for the American Heart Association. And little by little, people kept saying to me, why don't you do this? Can you help me with this? I also was writing poetry and songs at the time, and people would call me for that. And my biggest entrance that got me around was making chocolate. I made enough chocolate in my kitchen, so I would tag it for Easter, Christmas, Hanukkah. Other event people were using my chocolate. So that was another way that things got going. There was the 3rd year that I did these parties, there was an event coordinator in Maryland. And I might say, and I'm happy to say, and there's somebody in here that knows her very well, She was the mother of our industry. I went to her house. I was so excited that she could help me do the next party. One of them was a Carter party. We sent an invitation of peanuts, a bag of peanuts, and we had peanut soup, and we got going. Okay, so that's how I met her, and I sat there in awe and said, oh, this is for me. So I didn't know anything about sales, so Bloomingdale's had just opened, and I said, Christmas time, I'm going to run in there and work and learn how to sell. I didn't even know how I would attract a client. And that's how I got going. The greatest success, I might say, is I did not ever have to advertise. I might say, and I think I'm saying it only because you're all in business, I am so organized that my husband sometimes would like to move out, that I'm so organized, I don't finish one thing and I'm organized on the next thing. And I was able to handle 30 to 50 events myself. And I might add to you that when I started, there was nobody in Northern Virginia. People would think, what is she talking about? Planning my event? And in the beginning, I would go out and someone would say to me, oh, can you help me get a bartender? Oh, sure. People did not have any idea that there was a business like this out here. So that was my greatest challenge. How am I going to keep explaining, keep doing, get out there, get the clients? And truthfully, to be honest, it was one or two friends, and my social business started first, who would say to me, would you help me with a bar mitzvah? I remember going to the torpedo factory and being scared to death because every place you go to do events has such strict rules and regulations in appreciation of the value of their venues, the floors, the walls, museums, etc. So I kept going, and one event led to another, one event led to another corporation, and back then, there were only real estate people and builders who had any size. There were none of these major corporations and businesses. You could drive down Route 7 and I don't know what you would see. You would go into Vienna. The east side of Vienna, I think, was not even developed. So coming along, that was one of my biggest challenges. And my goal was not to compete with this woman that I loved in Maryland, who I'm still friendly with, and has been so instrumental in our industry, was to develop a Northern Virginia business. And honestly, it didn't happen only that way. I had to reach out, and I was getting engaged, my services in DC and Maryland. So now we consider ourselves sort of a tri-state area for events. And there were no vendors here. So actually, while I started this, I spent a year and a half running around all over trying to figure out where are the people I'm going to need, the music people, flowers, arts. So that is the history of how we got going.
What would you say your biggest challenge is?
My biggest challenge was developing
your best
a Northern
advice.
Virginia
Your best
clientele.
advice. Okay.
On to the future, I think you want to thank Steve Jobs for a lot of this. About a year and a half ago, with the economy changing and things going, me getting older, I decided to spend a year writing an app on a bride planning her own wedding. Even though coordinators do 3 to 4% of only in the weddings and social events, there's another 96% of the people doing it on their own. The internet does not always provide, as everybody knows, the most accurate information. So I set out and wrote and programmed this app that got published on Apple in January. And I'll combine the advice to the business owner question. I thought I was done once it finally made it through Apple. By the way, they are a wonderfully run company. They are so in control. You think that, oh, they're so big, they don't know what they're doing. But let me tell you, to get this up there, to get this written, to get a change to it, it's quite a job. So kudos to all these young people doing it. My best advice, when I finished my app, I realized, there's a whole world up there. I need to deal with social media. And my advice to everyone here who has a business, whether you have 2 or 3 people or 20,000, you must have young people, social media, catch on to this branding, video. Facebook has just changed. Who knows what's going to happen with Facebook? QR codes. The world is going QR codes. If you don't know what that is, that little box, and I'm listening. Even though I'm not in those part of the events, this is where it's going. The young people today are moving so fast. The ideas are coming. And I think we all need to spend some time with that. And you also need a few people who are older, who have been in other businesses, to keep the balance of a corporation, especially big corporations. You cannot just rely on this fast of new idea, but you must have it, and then at the other end, you need the people to control this and create a balance. Thank you.
Of course, thank you.